Planet Dolan. From firemen breaking down toilet doors to mistaken midgets for children, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to us. I'm Danger Dawn. Today I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by Death Bear 56. The most embarrassing thing that ever happened to my brother was when he was 10 years old. He was sitting on the toilet with headphones on listening to loud music, and all of a sudden the toilet door exploded off its hinges and a fireman was just standing on the other side. His mother was standing there with a look of fear and shock on her face. Apparently he'd been sitting there for over an hour, but he couldn't hear his mother banging on the door, so she called the emergency services. The fireman shook his head and left, and my brother sat there with his pants down and a red face. Number 9 was submitted by Silverheart123. One of the most embarrassing things that ever happened to Melissa was when she was in 7th grade. It was lunchtime and she was eating a fruit cup with peaches in it. Whenever she put a peach in her mouth, one of her friends would make a loud fart noise. However, this time it caught her off guard and she laughed so hard that whole chunks of peaches came flying out of her nose and landed all over the table. The whole cafeteria saw it and burst out laughing. She was given the nickname Peaches for a long time after that. Number 8 was submitted by Peanut Butter 345. When Gergak was in 4th grade, a pretty unfortunate thing happened to him while he was at school. He was walking down a crowded hallway during recess, and 2 of his teachers were standing there talking to each other. Just as he walked by them, he had a horrible feeling in his face, and suddenly he let out a very loud sneeze followed by a thunderous fart. Everyone stopped to look at him, too shocked to even laugh. Thankfully, one of his friends whispered, bless you? And he kept walking. To this day, he can't look those teachers in the eye. Number 7 was submitted by RedbootsTimeTraveler. When Gooby was younger, she was at a cafe with her family, and her mother was using her phone when she suddenly looked in Gooby's direction and said, "Oh wow." She then turned her camera on and started taking pictures. Gooby smiled and then posed, feeling incredibly flattered. Her mum then lowered her phone and asked Gooby to move to the left. Gooby looked behind her and realized that her mum was taking photos of the cake on the table behind her. Her siblings laughed and they still bring it up to this day. Number 6 was submitted by Sventrady. When Hellbent started his freshman year of high school, he was trying to make friends and attract cute girls. One day in gym class, he was talking to his friend Pringle. Being young, he wanted to look cool and casual, so he put one foot up on a chair and rested his arm on his leg like the cowboys do in Western TV shows. They noticed girls gathering directly across from them in the gym. First 2 girls, then 3, until more than 6 girls were smiling and giggling as they looked at Pringle and Hellbent. After a quick assessment, Pringle discovered the source of their attention and amusement. He leaned in and whispered to Hellbent, "Yo dude, your nutsack is hanging out." Needless to say, it was the longest gym class Hellbent ever had. Number 5 was submitted by Snoop Loops. When she was in high school, Ladybot was rehearsing a dance and drama practice one day when one of the boys who was supposed to catch her got distracted. She dumped into his arms, but his brain just did not compute. She was dropped on her head, and his hand just so happened to pull down her pants in the process. The rest of the class crowded around to help her, but they were all giggling. What a day to wear unicorn pattern underpants to school. Number 4 was submitted by Siflosin183. When Spinal Palm was 6 years old, he and his older brother went to a local swimming pool with some friends. It was a hot day and the pool was packed. After about an hour, Spinal Palm's brother told him he should totally do a cannonball and make a big deal about it. So Spinal Palm exclaimed loudly to the pool that everyone should watch his cool cannonball. When suddenly, next thing he knew, his brother ran past and yanked down Spinal Palm's swimming trunks. The 6-year-old Spinal Palm stood there in a crowded pool with his wiener on display for everyone to see. He quietly pulled his shorts back up, got in the pool, and pretended like it never happened. Number 3 was submitted by Jtheobrun. One day, Sidious invited his friend Ghost Toast over. They were hanging out, playing games in his room when Ghost Toast said he needed to pee. So Sidious led him to the bathroom, but it was occupied, so they went to the second bathroom, which was inside Sidious's grandma's bedroom. When Ghost Toast finished doing his business, he walked out of the bathroom to find Sidious' grandma getting changed. Her saggy boobs right in his face. He was in shock. He ran for his life out of the house all the way back home. Sidious found out what happened and decided he might not invite his friends over again when his grandma was home. Number 2 was submitted by Yoshi Club 1994. When they were young, Doopy and Emoji went to a water park with giant water slides. They were in the line with a bunch of kids to go on the biggest slide in the park when Doopy accidentally stubbed her toe and swore quite loudly. Emoji looked at her and told her, "What's your language? There's a little boy right here." He pointed to a person in front of him in the line. The person turned around and wasn't a boy at all. He was a midget. Emoji went red and apologized, but the short man just shook his head and jumped down the slide away from them. So number 1 was submitted by me. What's my most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me? Well, I have quite a few of those, but just to pick one that sticks out in my head, when I was in primary school, there was this one girl who was nice to me. Now back then, you know, girls and boys just did not mix. It's like they're some foreign species from some different planet over yonder, and so you just don't talk to them. This one girl was nice to me, and so immediately I thought, oh, that means she's in love with me. That means we're gonna get married and all that. So me, with my very juvenile mind, I started going around my friends and saying, oh yeah, that girl, yeah, she's my girlfriend. And they were like, oh really? That's crazy, that's cool. And it started to spread around the school a little bit. Now you can see where this is going. So one of the girl's friends came up and was like, is it true that you said that you're this person's boyfriend? I was like, yep, yeah, that's true. We were going out and all that. And so they vanished. They're like, okay. They vanished. And then the most embarrassing time, I got confronted in front of a lot of people by the girl. She was like, why are you telling people that we're in love and that we're going out? What are you talking about? Like, I really said like 3 things to you. I was like, oh, no. I thought that's how love works. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. Yeah, it was not good. It was not good. I still cringe thinking about it. And after that, I learned, oh, okay, love doesn't work that way. Yeah, I've learned my lesson since. Huge thanks to folks over at Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. We have another question for you. What's your best revenge story? Let us know on the Reddit page linked below and you might be featured in a future countdown. That's it for this video. And have a good one!
He was in a home economics class making spaghetti and meatballs. He was working alongside a friend who was sensually rolling his mince into balls. The friend then gave Emoji this amazing piece of advice.
When you cook, make your actions as sexual as possible.